a sizzle reel. Can I get a copy of that? That was cool.
You like that?
I did.
Oh my gosh.
I did.
Welcome to Utah.
Hi, honey.
Now, I know this. This is not your first time to Utah.
No. This is, I have such a love affair with Salt Lake because I shot 2 movies and an episode of Touched by an Angel here. And I have to say, literally to this day, Salt Lake City movie crews are the best. The best. It was amazing. 2 Halloweentown movies.
What were the movies that you shot here then?
We shot Return to Halloweentown.
Yep.
And, oh shoot, what is it? It's the 3rd and the 4th we shot here. And I forget, what is it? It's Return to Halloweentown and Halloweentown High. Yeah.
They're yelling, they're like, oh, we know.
You guys are.
We'll tell you. Well, welcome. We're so excited to have you here. It's such an honor to have you here. And we have a bunch of people who want to ask questions. Of course, I have questions I want to ask too, but let's go ahead and turn it over here and you'll be able to ask your very first question.
Hi, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Ben Harrison.
Hi, Ben.
Huge fan. You're my April O'Neil. Thank you so much for coming. My question is, what was the funniest moment filming with the men in the turtle suits? Like heads rolling off or anything?
I think that you just nailed it. So one of the things about the movie was we were working with Jim Henson in the Creature Shop. And it was brand new technology and it didn't always work. In fact, a lot of times we had something, I coined the phrase MTB, which was Major Turtle Breakdown. And I swear it happened all the time. And so there'd be times when on the rare occasion, so let me just give you a little background. When you're shooting a movie, you shoot a master. It's a big shot of the whole universe that you're in. Then you come in and you do close-ups. And so the camera would be like over my shoulder shooting you, and then over your shoulder shooting me. And when we were shooting over my shoulder at the turtle, they were always there. But when they would shoot over the turtle's shoulder to me, or from their point of view to me, there was nothing there. There was a paper plate on a microphone stand with a smiley face. So on the rare occasions that I would have one there, or they would be in the scene, we had the actor in the suit and then there was a puppeteer off to the side, and they would be loudly mouthing the words because the animatronics were connected to their faces. So they would move their hands, they would move their faces, and then the turtle's face would move at the same time. And there would be times where like, it would get stuck or it would melt down the other side. And then there was one time, and I don't remember who it was, but one of the guys in the suit, they were so uncomfortable, they were so heavy, they were so claustrophobic, ripped his head off because he couldn't breathe. And he was fine.
Let me just rip the turtle head off.
Rip the turtle, yeah.
Just make sure, clarify that.
Yeah. Ripped the turtle head off and like shredded it. It was, but all was forgiven because they were so uncomfortable in those suits. So I think it was those times, and I don't know, man. We laughed so much on that set. We really did. But I think probably working with Elias Koteas, especially when we were at the farmhouse, there was the scene on the porch. We had so much fun. We laughed so hard. So, right?
When you were first cast for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, see nowadays everybody knows Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but back then it was fairly new property. And did you understand like what this was? Did you have a deep understanding, or when your agent came to you, you're like, hey, we have this thing called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and you're like, what's that? Or did you know that before you got there?
Well, my agent, until the day he died, pronounced it Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You can read, right? Michael, come on. He sent me the script and said, ignore the title. It's very sweet. Now, what I didn't know was that it was a comic book, that it was a cartoon, and at the time I was doing a movie with Robin Williams, and we were shooting in New York. Ninja Turtles was going to be shooting in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I was doing pre-production, so on Fridays I would try to get out of work as early as possible. And Robin one day said, where are you rushing off to? Like, it's great being in a movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm rushing off because I'm doing another movie. And I loved him so much. And he would tease me, and it was just like, oh, we're doing 2 movies at once? And, which was like, I was just getting started. I thought that's kind of how it went, right? And he asked me what I was doing, and I said, I'm doing a movie. It's called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And he said, what? And I said, it's called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I was just waiting exactly for him to laugh and for everybody to laugh, because we were all always together. It was a movie called Cadillac Man. And he said, oh, thank you. And thank you. And he said, no. Was a comic book collector, and he had the first edition and then every other edition, and he was like, are you April? Yes, I am. And he just thought it was the coolest thing, and it really gave me my street cred. And he and his family flew down from San Francisco for the premiere and came, and
oh my God.
And it was the sweetest thing, and it was a great start. And we had no idea that it would, 31 years later, we'd be doing this. Not a clue.
Still going strong. Go ahead.
Do you love to celebrate Halloween?
Do I love to celebrate Halloween? I do. And I have a dear friend. I just relocated from Los Angeles to Nashville, and I have a really dear friend who lives for Halloween, and she makes it last from like September to January. And she decorates her house for Halloween, and then it turns into Christmas, Halloween, Christmas. And I just talked to her the other day, and she said, okay, so what are you gonna be for Halloween this year? And I was like, well, let me get back to you about that. Because truthfully, once I had kids, I wasn't really dressing up as much. I was taking them out, and I was kind of like being the person standing back and letting my kids go. But I don't know, I'm thinking maybe a little, what is it? Like, what is it? Day of the Dead? A little, what's that? A zombie, or maybe a zombie. Yeah, I'll probably be a zombie. I think I'll be a zombie this year.
What's that like? Do you think she would look good as a zombie?
I think I could roll with a zombie.
I mean, I think if anybody could pull off an April O'Neil Halloween costume, you would. I'm just throwing that out there. All right, our next question.
You'd be a great zombie.
You look
My question
amazing.
is, Batman's question. Have you ever studied martial arts?
What? No. But I've played someone on TV who has. I bow before you. No, I haven't. But honestly, I have been, because I'm getting up there, folks. I am well into my 50s. I'm still hoofing, but I've been thinking of Tai Chi. Because also there's that mindful component to it. So, but my husband has done all kinds of martial arts, and I dig the martial arts.
That's wonderful.
Truly.
So, I remember, I saw that movie, The Teenage Mutant, in the theaters.
You did?
Who saw it in the theaters?
love you guys.
It blew my mind. I mean, I couldn't even handle it. And I mean, even to this day, it has such a soft spot in our hearts. And what you guys created was something that has endured the test of time. I mean, it's such a treasure. So I think it's great.
Thank you, thank you. Hello, gorgeous.
Hi. When you were filming Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, did you have any pranks pulled on you?
Say that one more time.
When you were filming Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, did you have any pranks pulled on you?
Did I have any pranks pulled on me? I don't think so. No, that was really, I had worked with George Clooney years later, and that was really like his department. He's a notorious prankster. No, but I will tell you this. We had a lot of fun. We laughed a lot, but we worked 6 days a week. So Monday through Saturday, we had 2 crews running simultaneously. There was principal photography and then second unit. Second unit did all the stunts. So a lot of us, when we were done with principal photography for the day, we had to go over to the second unit and work with them. And I think my longest day was like 17 hours. It was pretty long. And we would play with each other, but we had no time to like set a good prank up because we were all like pedal to the metal to get it done. Because you have to remember, this was an indie movie, low budget for the time. You know, for the time actually it was a bigger budget than normal, but still not a big budget. And it was a lot of people who were doing it for the first time. So it was a little crazy, but I do love me a good prank.
Wonderful. Go ahead.
Oh, stop.
We're a grill.
Oh, we had Shredder over there. Look, the whole family.
Will you please come to my table so I can take a picture with you? And you also happen to have a little mouse?
He's Splinter. His stuff is in the stroller. But he is Splinter.
I am dying up here. Commitment.
Yes. So I watch a lot of your movies.
Thank you.
So which is your favorite movie that you've been in?
Woo.
Such a hard question. It's like
It really
your favorite
is.
child.
It
right?
really is. I feel the same way when people ask me about my favorite turtle. I am kind of like a 5-year-old. And which my husband thinks is hilarious. He's like, oh my gosh, it's like being married to, I get so excited, I get so happy, I get so sad, I get so tired, I'm so hungry, I'm so curious, you know, I really am like that. And so the thing that I'm working on at the moment is the thing I'm obsessed about. When I look backwards, like, I loved working on Ninja Turtles, but it wasn't always the most fun because we were working so hard and there were so many obstacles. I loved doing the Halloweentown movies, but they were kind of challenging because we had, you know, whenever you've got kids involved, there's a lot of stuff to deal with. I think one of the movies that I enjoyed working on the best was sort of an unexpected movie for me, which was Armageddon. Oh. And that was kind of a crazy movie where literally I met Michael Bay, I read for it, and then I never heard another word. And all I heard was, you're in the mix, and that means you're under consideration for this part. A month passes. It's like a Monday. I get a phone call around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You got the part, and you're gonna shoot tomorrow morning. You need to be there by 5 a.m. What? This is a movie about the end of the world. Do you have a script for me? They'll give it to you in the morning. Okay, it was a little traumatic, but I went with it. And because I committed so much to it, they just kept bringing me back and bringing me back and bringing me back. And I got to do some really fun things on that movie and meet some really great people. And I think the two things that stick out the most for me is that I got a chance to, go to Cape Canaveral and be by the Rockets and walk around out there. And then I got to have lunch with Steve Buscemi,
Oh, it's amazing.
for several weeks, and I highly recommend it. He is so funny and so generous, and I think that kind of is what edged it out for me. Oh, but then Helen Mirren, I don't know. Oh, I love them all. I kind of do. Your little babies are just so beautiful. So beautiful.
So you thought she was going to ask, what's your favorite turtle?
Right.
Well, what's your favorite turtle?
Okay, I have two answers.
Okay.
Judith says, it's like asking me which is my favorite child. April says Raphael. Only because he saved my life that first time. But she would have to say that in private so
Sure.
the other guys couldn't hear her.
Understood. Do not tweet that.
We have Donnie and Leo over there. Oh my gosh. Hi.
Hi, I am Christy Kuhn, and
Hi, Christy.
I do remember that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is one of the first movies I ever saw in the 1990s, but tell me, what's it like being an actress around 4 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Really so fun.
Really fun?
So when I got the movie, I didn't know that there was a cartoon. I didn't find out until after the movie. I was like, would someone have liked to have clued me in that there was actually a cartoon? I knew there was a comic book, but I didn't know about the cartoon. And when I'm reading the script, because I had never seen a Ninja Turtle, I had no idea what they looked like. So when I first got there, one of the first things that they did was they took me to the creature shop, and there were all these turtle heads and torsos and shells and arms and legs, and it was so cool. And then once I saw them assembled and on these incredible actors, it was really neat. You have to use your imaginations, because a lot of times, as I said, they weren't there, but it just came alive.
Oh my goodness, you were so cool. I even saw you drawing pictures of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in the movie. You're a good artist. So.
Now, here's the deal. Oops, there goes my bracelet. I didn't actually draw those pictures.
You didn't?
I didn't. Here, I'm going to deal with this later.
They were so good.
I sketched over them and I wrote. So if you ever see them, and there's some writing, all of that is mine, and I just played with it. But somebody asked me, why didn't you swipe the pictures? I know. Why didn't I swipe the pictures? No, but thank you for that.
Okay, and last question. In real life, do you not like the tradition of Halloween because you don't want your kids to go out and have trick-or-treating nights? Is that real in real life?
No.
Halloweentown?
Actually, that was really hard to play. Because for those of you who haven't seen Halloweentown, I'm a witch pretending, in the very first one, I'm a witch pretending to be a human. My mother, who's played by Debbie Reynolds, who's phenomenal. Can't say enough about beautiful Debbie Reynolds, rest in peace. But, I was pretending to be human. And so I was the wet blanket in the whole first movie. And it was hard because it was like, as a mom, I decorated our house like it's a haunted house. I took my kids out. I made their costumes. I'm down with all of that. Yeah. Thank you so much.
So going back to when you you mentioned something that just piqued my curiosity. Jim Henson, you went to the studios and you saw was it the prototypes of the turtles before?
No, it was the actual pieces. So the creature shop was located in London.
Okay.
And so the original turtles were, Raphael was Josh Pais, Leonardo was David Foreman, who was from England. Donatello was Leif Tilden, and Michelangelo was Michelin Sisti. So they all got to fly to London and have cast made of their bodies.
Plaster cast?
Plaster, yeah. And then they molded them for them. So when we were shooting in Wilmington, North Carolina, there was a whole building called the Creature Shop there, and it was there were lots and lots of legs and lots of arms and body parts, because they had to outfit the turtles and then outfit all these stuntmen. So it was good.
Was it hard? Was it? Could you visualize it when you saw it there, or were you looking at everything and like trying to what is all of this? How's this going to work?
You know, no. Once you saw the pieces, you could. It was easy.
It's easy.
It was easy. It was beforehand. I loved the story, and I could see the story in my head, but I couldn't quite see the turtles up and moving. I always saw them kind of, I don't know, on the ground or something, or very turtle-like. But it was better than anything I imagined.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi. What was your most emotional scene while shooting a film?
Oh. So this wouldn't have happened. Oh, actually, yeah. I have two. One is a TV show, one is a movie. Actually, one of them was Armageddon. And it was really challenging because I had not had any time to work on the script. It was a really hard first day because I felt like I wasn't ready. And I thought, okay, you've got to imagine you're an actress. This is not about you, Judith, the actress. This is about you, Judith, the actress who's a storyteller. So I said, just imagine that it's the end of the world, and that's your little boy, and you're never going to get to watch him grow up. You're never going to watch him graduate from high school. You're never going to watch him fall in love. You're never going to probably fall in love. You're never going to see your parents again. How many more days do you get to be alive? And I just started doing that, and man, did that work me. I was ready to go. And it was very sweet because Jerry Bruckheimer was one of the producers on the movie, and I went up to introduce myself at a premiere, and I said, "Hi, I'm Judith," and he said, "I know who you are." I was like, "Oh yeah, right, okay, so you're the producer, of course you know who I am." And he said, "I just want to thank you so much because you made me cry every time I see the movie." And I thought, that's the nicest thing that anyone's ever said. The other thing would have been a TV show that I did called Criminal Minds.
Oh,
Right?
amazing.
It's a good show. Good show. And I was like, Criminal Minds? Oh, I've done so many of them. I'm pretty sure it's Criminal Minds. Without a Trace. I'm sorry, Without a Trace. And I played the mother of a daughter who was abducted. And ultimately we found out that she had been murdered. And I remember getting the script and saying, while this has never happened to me, it has happened to many, many mothers. And I said, I don't want a single mother who this has happened to watch my performance and say, that's not what it feels like. That's not even close to what it's like. And so I just said, any mother, if I could be a channel for somebody's pain, let me be it now. And it was the most emotional, I could not stop crying, I could not stop feeling bad, I could not, obviously it's not my life, but once I was in that space, it was the most emotional I've ever been. It was devastating.
Now, I think a lot of people don't realize when an actor or actress, when they get a role, they have lots of time to usually prep for that. So for Armageddon, that just kind of goes to show what an amazing actress you are to be able to pick it up on day one. Like, so that's amazing. Were you able to use that, or was the panic, the fear of like, oh, here we are? How did you overcome those obstacles on such short notice?
You know what? I do something called give myself a class. When I'm struggling in my work, I give myself a class. And so I said, look, this is one of the biggest movies at that time, the largest budget of a movie ever made. There was a lot of stuff going on that day that was not professional, that was not cool, that had nothing to do with me except it got aimed at me. And it would have been very easy to go up in flames and then not be great in the movie and then explain to people why I was not good. Because this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, and this happened. And I thought, but that's not my job. My job is to tell the story. And so even though really on the first day I hadn't fully read the script, I just said, your job is to tell the story and to make pretend. And so I was like, it doesn't matter any of this other stuff, just make pretend. And I did. And it taught me a lot. And sometimes my really hardest experiences creatively have been some of my greatest experiences. Because as I call myself a lifelong learner. And as a lifelong learner, I'm always interested in how to learn from an experience. I have a saying, and I think it's John Wooden, but I'm not sure. Is life works out the best for those who make the best of the way that life works out. And boy, now more than ever, right?
Right.
So that's kind of my...
So this is gonna be a little random side note here. You went to, was it Walnut High School?
Walnut Hill.
Walnut Hill.
Yes.
So I was doing some digging. I found out that the other actress who played April, she went to the same high school that you went to. You guys went to the same high school. Does your high school just prep people to play for the role of April?
Yeah, right, you'd think. It's called Walnut Hill School for the Arts. It's in Natick, Massachusetts. When Paige, so it was Paige Turco.
Yeah.
She was a couple years behind me. And when we were both going there, it was a girls' school and then became a co-ed school. And I met Paige, oh gosh, through my friend Michael Cudlitz, who played Abraham in The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And he's such a wonderful actor, he's such a good friend. And it was a premiere of one of his movies. And once I'd done the red carpet and I went in and we saw the movie and I looked up and it was like, oh, it's Paige. We'd never met. And you know, I think people would love to think that there's a rivalry, of which there is none. And we took one look at each other, like threw ourselves into each other's arms. And then it was a very crowded place where the after party was, and we sat in a club chair together and shared a martini. And just like we were two squirrels.
That's amazing. I love it.
In Ninja Turtles, you worked with, I'm not sure how to say his name, Elias
Koteas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys had a fantastic chemistry. I wonder if you could talk about that a little bit.
Do you know what? Elias is such a tremendously talented actor and such a wholehearted, kind-hearted human being. And it's funny because in the last, like during COVID, I reached out to him because I did a cast and crew reunion on the 30th anniversary since we were all locked in our houses. My dear friend Fran Drescher was one of the first people who started pulling casts together, and they would do reunions and read-throughs and stuff. And I was reaching out to Elias, and who wasn't able to do it, but also he's very, very shy. But we spent hours and hours on the phone this past year and now just catching up. Sometimes you meet somebody and you just feel like you've known them forever. That was the way it was with Elias and I felt very fortunate because he's a very shy person. Like, he was so exuberant and amazing as Casey, but if you were to just meet him, he would be very shy. He's really good one-on-one. He would not enjoy being up here answering questions because it's outside of his comfort zone. But he is extraordinary, and he's still a really good friend. Yeah.
That's wonderful. All right, so let's talk about this. Nashville.
Yes!
You filmed Nashville in Nashville, right?
We shot Nashville in Nashville, yes.
And now, because a lot of times you film, you're pretending, you're like, we're filming here, but it's really there. How was it filming Nashville in Nashville itself?
It was so awesome. I love Nashville. I had never been there before. When I found out that we were shooting it there and not shooting it in LA, it just makes it easier because you're in the environment. And definitely in season 1, the city of Nashville was like a character in the show. I think that kind of went away the longer the series was on the air. But everybody fell in love with it, bought houses, many have relocated. Chip Eston, who played Deacon, he's got a house there and lives there. Claire Bowen lives there. And then I bought a house 3 years ago because I kept longing for Nashville. It was like, LA, I think I'm done with LA. And I've been there. I bought my house 3 years ago. I just would go and visit it for the first year. In the second year, I started to get very serious about, like, maybe I could live here. And then about 6 months before the pandemic, my husband was shooting a series there called Tell Me a Story. He's behind the camera, he's not in front of the camera. And I just went, we gotta make this work, let's do it. And we have a production company. And so we decided we're bringing it all to Nashville. And I love it. It is such a great place.
That is so wonderful. We got time for one more question.
Hi. I was just wondering if you could talk about what it was like working with Carrie Fisher's mom in Halloweentown.
Debbie Reynolds.
Wow. Debbie Reynolds, who has, we did 2 movies here in Salt Lake together. It was amazing. The very first day, so the Disney Channel was still kind of new when the first Halloweentown movie came on. And I wasn't quite sure what the channel was about. But the very first thing they told me was that Debbie Reynolds was doing it. And I was like, well, if Debbie Reynolds is doing it, I'm in.
Yeah.
And it was funny because the head of the Disney Channel's son was a huge Ninja Turtle fan. And I'm pretty sure that's what got me the part. But, so the first day that I met Debbie, we're shooting a scene where we're all in the dining room and my mother has just come to town. And we're about to rehearse, haven't met her yet, haven't laid eyes on her, and she comes sweeping into the room and she's like, hello, I am Princess Leia's mother. And I was like, what? You're Debbie Reynolds! And she was hilarious. She has more stories. She has a little bit of a potty mouth, which I love. And she was like, she took me under her wing and taught me so much. And same with Kimberly J. Brown. Like, Kim and I, when we talk to each other, we're always mention Debbie in some way or some story about her. But she was phenomenal. And I heard a million stories about Carrie over the years that we worked together. And I remember doing a Comic-Con. It was a year before she passed. And she was doing photo ops. And I said, I just got to go in and say hi. And I walked in and I said, hi, I don't know if you know who I am, but I've worked with your mom 4 different times. I love her on the Halloweentown movies. And if you've ever had the honor of getting a photograph with Carrie Fisher, you know she has her dog Gary with her, with the tongue hanging out. And she grabbed me and kind of drew me into her boobs. And cuddled me in, and I loved it. And I have a picture of the 2 of us, and I really, really treasure it. I really treasure it.
We cannot end on a better note than that, everybody. Please give a huge round of applause for Judith. Thank you so much for coming here to FanX. Just delighted to have you here.
It was a pleasure. And you guys, just real quick, you know, one of the things that Debbie taught me, and I took it to heart. So Debbie, we would, and I know our time is up, but we would walk from our trailers to the set, and Debbie was constantly stopping and posing for pictures with fans. And I started teasing her one day and saying, my goodness, you would just pose with a coat hanger. And she said, Judith, you are nothing without your fans. You have no career if you do not have fans. And if you don't let them know that you love them and adore them and appreciate them, then you don't deserve to have them. And I went, yes, Mom. So, thank you.
One more time, a huge round of applause, everybody. I don't know if you guys know this, but she can still hear you